Hi guys, so this is my informal introduction video for not specifically Linguistics 317, but just sort of for me. There's this push for people who are paying attention in online courses to do what they call humanizing, which is this thing that we do to try to make the relationship between instructor and student a little bit less, static and distant. And the point is simply that not everyone needs the same degree, but in case it's needed, it makes a lot of sense for me to put in that kind of effort. So a little bit about me, just so we have some precursor. The sort of stuff that you typically know from having an instructor in front of you, some of those off-the-cuff kind of things, like they come in, they always drink a cup of coffee, or I don't know, they have a really quirky jacket you see every day, or whatever. That kind of like edging stuff that makes a person are sort of absent in this format. So one of the things that we can do is to give ourselves the opportunity to make some of that impromptu, informal stuff to fill in the gaps. Now it's important to be short, so let's be short. But let me tell you a couple things about myself, just so that I'm not an imaginary person that has a face and talks a lot but isn't real. Some of you already know me, so that's cool. But I'm Jeannie Heil. I'm a doctor of Hispanic linguistics who specializes in second language acquisition. But I also teach a lot of method stuff, so that's what I teach for our university too, upper level Spanish. I teach, well, intro linguistics as well, but then second language acquisition and bilingualism, and I do the methods course in the spring. So what interests me, of course, in linguistics is sort of, the way that people learn languages is sort of spontaneous and weird and interesting, and adults in particular struggle with this, and there's a difference between those people who succeed and those people who don't. And so in a way, it's sort of the archaeology of the phenomenon of differences and outcomes. And of course, me myself, I like learning languages too, and many of us who were linguistics majors like that. Not all, of course, but many. Many linguistics majors are taking 2 and 3 languages, which is a fun scheduling thing for us. But we love it, we encourage it. But a couple, I guess, personal things too to round out the "Who am I" piece. I'm originally from Ohio. I lived in Chicago for a decade. I met my spouse there. He and I moved a couple times for my career, and we've ended up here in Maine. We've had a kid since then, so I've got a 2-year-old named for Noam Chomsky because why not? If you don't know who Noam Chomsky is, he's a very famous linguist. You could always Google him. He also does politics, which is interesting too, but not important at the moment. I have dog. The dog does not have a name from a linguist, but you know. Okay, so there's a couple things about me. What else? So, sort of the courses coming up, as we talked about via email, if you were enrolled already and got that email, is that this is going to be an online course. That's what we call blended, which typically blended is part in person and then an online presence as well. Many courses traditionally have used that format to kind of beef up sort of the at-home study piece. Like in foreign language courses, occasionally we do that. We don't at USM, but at other places, like when I was in Chicago, that was what we did. But what happens when you do that is that the time that we're together as a class kind of shrinks a little bit. And so the other pieces of the class have to grow. So a chunk of the things that I'm going to be teaching you, you're going to get via video. So unfortunately, this hopefully is not excruciating because you're going to see some of it this semester, by which I mean every single week. It worked fine in the spring. My methods course went online when we all went online in the spring, and it was fine. The vast majority of them still did great in the class. I had some projects I loved, so I feel like we're going to be fine. This is a course I've taught now. This will be the 4th year in a row. It started out kind of small, 10 to 12 students, and had a more beefier writing component at that point. It's now, because the major has grown, it's a class of about 25 every time, and that includes this semester. So we have to kind of reanalyze what the most efficient way to do that is, being that we're online and I can't be there with you to check in with you constantly. I'm taking that into account, and we're going to go about what would have been the writing piece in sort of a different way, which we'll talk about more in details as we go on. But needless to say, my ability to kind of meet with everyone all the time is a little bit hampered by lacking my physical presence on campus. So I am taking that into account in the design of the course. I haven't finished all of the details with this course because it has a couple different components. Information that I have on its structure, I'm not pushing out quite yet. But what I will say is that you should expect to do the bulk of your homework by Sunday night and then have class on Monday. And since this class being blended, it's partially flipped. What that means is that you're going to be doing sort of the kind of introductory level stuff via video and then like self-test and quizzes. And then on Mondays, what we're going to be doing is practicing some of those skills, and you'll have an opportunity. I'll give you like the quick and dirty summary of what you should have learned to make sure that we're all on the same page. And then we'll do our mini lab activity on Monday together. That will take place in some form of small groups. I'm tossing around how to do that, and I'm not going to tell you which ones I'm picking yet because I don't know yet. But that should be your expectation, that weekly you'll do some stuff during the week. By Sunday, you'll turn in a couple like homework, smaller quizzes, and then Monday we will meet, we will summarize, we will do stuff with it. And Monday, expect to meet about an hour during our scheduled time. I'm expecting it'll be at the first part because my idea is to have impromptu office hours afterwards. There will also be obviously things closer to tests rather than these little homework quiz things, and those will be due on Fridays because they're just different. And I don't want you trying to do like a test thing and your homework at the same time, because we need to separate those things emotionally in order to be prepared and take stuff seriously. Anyway, so that's me and a little bit about what we're doing this semester kind of together. Feel free to push back out at me, questions, comments. If you want to do an intro video, I'm happy to watch it. But feel free to, if this semester makes you crazy and you're terrified, tell me. I'm happy to know that. In a classroom, I usually can kind of look around and feel who is not doing okay, but it's a lot harder when I don't see you guys. So please, if you are comfortable sharing that with me, do. And let me know if you need anything from me in the meantime. The book, as I've told you, is Van Patten and Bonatti's second edition of Key Terms in Second Language Acquisition. And that's a lovely book that has a bunch of, we'll talk about like questions in second language acquisition and various, we'll look at 3 positions within those questions of how to respond them. Like, for example, there's a question of what's the role of individual differences in second language acquisition? That is to say, what's the role of motivation? What's the role of working memory? What's the role of, and we'll talk about 3 different ways to approach that question. And that's going to take up probably most of the semester, because we'll talk about one of those questions every week. There's some other stuff tucked in as well. Okay, great. So this doesn't get too long. I'm going to cut us off. But as I said, feel free to reach out to me. I encourage you to do so. If you don't need to, if you're like, I'm good, I'm fine with that too. And we will see each other on August 31st. Cool. Bye.